Starting a YouTube channel can be really tough. Figuring out what videos to make, not knowing how to do anything like scripting and editing and recording, and worrying about failing can all be very discouraging and prevent you from even starting. You aren't alone. In this video, we're going to cover what to do and what to ignore when getting started, how to push yourself to start, and how to keep that fire burning, what to focus on and where to put your energy, how to find your niche, and some tips and ideas for scheduling and outsourcing. Getting started is really hard. A few years ago, I had thought of the idea that I was going to start doing YouTube. And it wasn't until this year in June that I actually decided, okay, I'm going to do it for real. So I wrote down everything that I was going to do for this channel, what the channel was going to be about and all of that. And I decided that I was going to start at the end of July. Well, July rolled around, August rolled around, September rolled around. I still hadn't done anything yet. I still hadn't actually made my channel or anything. So I finally decided on September 24th, I'm going to do it now. And I made my channel, made other accounts and things like that, and kind of get prepped. And I started work on my first video's outline. It took me a few days to kind of put my ideas together on how I wanted to do the video. But I finally got it all put together, and I still didn't start. Finally, on September 28th, I decided at about 3 a.m., screw it, I'm going to hit record and I'm going to make the video. So I made the video, I posted it at 4 a.m., and my goal was just to put out a video. I did no editing, I didn't do any kind of thumbnail or anything. I just recorded and uploaded. This became my starting point. The only way you're going to be able to start your YouTube journey is to make your first video and start uploading. There's no other way around that. You might worry about things like, what if someone I know finds me? This isn't TikTok. They're not gonna, on TikTok there's some contact sharing and that sort of thing, so people could potentially find you that you know. But on YouTube, that just isn't going to happen. They have to find you naturally, and it's just not possible. It's not probable. No one is going to find your channel unless you tell them about it. You might also think, what if I fail or waste my time? The only way you're going to waste your time is if you make videos, put them on YouTube, and then give up. Then you've wasted your time. Anyone can be a YouTuber. You just got to get over your fears and start right now. Not tomorrow, not 2 weeks from now, not at the end of July like me. You just got to start now. Otherwise, you're just making yourself an excuse. Just get in there and make your first 3 videos and don't give it any thought. Just put them out there. Don't worry about your camera quality and don't worry about making the right video. Don't make excuses. Just put out videos. Get started. One common thing you're going to hear from many YouTubers is that you got to put out at least 1 video a week. But I know this personally to be very tough. I've been struggling to get even just 1 video out a week. But more than your video count, you need to put in the hours. At least a few hours, like at least 4 hours a week, bare minimum if you want to try to do a video a week. Because 4 hours is on the lower end of what it will take to make a video. So put in the time. Motivation is one of the most important things during the early stages of your YouTube channel, especially before you post your first video. In my life, I've experienced that the most significant changes that have led to improvement in my life have been based on a strong desire for change, to change the way things are. If you have this strong desire or can find it within yourself, you can use this desire as an underlying motivational force during the early steps of your YouTube channel. And you've got to have a good attitude and mentality. You need to have fun. Learn to love the process of making videos. Make content that you genuinely enjoy and be creative. And don't let the negative comments get to you either. And you will get them. I actually got my first negative comment on a video titled 100x views guaranteed with 4 key items. His comment was, "Says you, LMAO, with 4 views." And he was right. And I responded, Can't argue with that. And hey, normally I get 0.04 views. But obviously I didn't let his negative comment get to me. To keep your motivation strong, you're going to need to build confidence. Of course, be yourself and don't try to imitate your favorite YouTuber. But one method you might use to build up your confidence, to find your confidence, is through character invention. Invent a character who's outside of your comfort zone. Write a short script, make sure you're completely alone, and then hit record and recite the script with over-the-top energy. And then keep the camera rolling, do it again with a little bit less energy. And then again with a little bit less, and again, and again, and eventually watch it back. And within that, you'll find your confident and authentic you. So once you upload your first video, you're going to feel a strong sense of relief. You finally did it. You uploaded your video. But don't have unrealistic expectations. Your first several videos are going to do terrible. You're not going to get very many views or subscribers. Though I will make a side note here that I think YouTube has a bias towards your first video, so you may see an additional uptick on that video than the subsequent videos. But this isn't going to happen overnight. You're not going to blow up overnight. You're not going to get monetized in the first 2 weeks. In fact, most YouTubers that are doing it right take 3 to 12 months in order to get monetized. So be patient. Now fast forward a bit, and you've gotten several videos out and you're starting to get some traction, and then your numbers dip and it hits you emotionally, gives you a negative feeling. You can't measure your success in terms of subscribers and views. Now I'm a numbers guy and I'm going to be watching these kinds of numbers and the growth over time, but you need to find your self-worth based on the videos you're putting out and the effort that you're putting into those videos. And don't let a specific successful video raise your expectations bar. For instance, if you usually only get 100 views per video on average, and then suddenly you get a video with 1,000 views, you're going to feel really great. But then if the next video is only 300 views, you're going to feel bad, even though it's 3 times your average. You should learn from your successful videos, but don't let them raise your expectations. But this isn't easy, and I've also fallen victim to this. My first video got 129 views in 4 days. My second video got 23 views in 4 days, substantially lower. And my third video only got 7 views in 4 days, even lower. This was deflating, but my motivation based on my desire for change was greater than my demotivation based on the bad trend. The last step to improving your motivation is to not let imposter syndrome get to you. If you're unfamiliar with the term, it basically means having some kind of success or position that you don't feel qualified for or that you're not worthy of. This is a term that's used widely in the tech industry, but it really applies to anywhere in your life. An example of this would be if you got a new position that's high paying and you feel really good about it, and then you join the team and you feel like everyone is light years ahead of you. And all of a sudden you feel like you don't deserve this position, you don't deserve this pay, and you're not qualified. For your YouTube channel, this might come after getting some successful videos, especially if you have a very successful video compared to what you usually get. Leaning back on the example from earlier, if you usually only get 100 views per video, and then suddenly one of your videos gets 30,000 views, you might feel that you're not good enough to have that many views. And it may even prevent you from making your next video because of the fear of failing. You might think that your viewers' expectations of you have suddenly drastically risen, and if you don't make it perfect, you're going to fail. Be grateful for the views that you got and try to learn from the successful video, but don't let it get to you. So what should you focus on in the beginning? Well, as previously mentioned, you should be putting out videos as quickly as you can to learn from them. You should strive to make improvements each video little by little. Between uploads, do research, try out new techniques, and practice. Challenge yourself to get better, and put emphasis on learning how to do good thumbnails and titles. After you have several videos under your belt, you should focus on good ideas over putting out more videos. As you start to build your community, Think about what they want to see. Focus on giving value to your viewers, and experiment with new ideas and adapt your content towards successful avenues. Now, the topic of niche is pretty interesting. When I was doing my 50 hours of research, I found that there was a lot of conflicting thoughts between creators on how you should go about your niche. The first camp of creators would say, don't worry about your niche, just experiment and find your way through it. The second camp of creators would say, you should have a niche, but don't be too rigid. And the third camp said that you should have a complete idea before you even start of exactly what your niche should be. Now, personally, I think that if you're new to YouTube, you probably won't know exactly what you want your niche to be. So I fall somewhere in between camp 1 and 2, where I think that you should kind of have an idea of what your niche is, but you should experiment to figure it out more precisely. Now, this channel is interesting because I knew what I wanted my niche to be about. I wanted it to be about my journey of making a YouTube channel. But at the same time, explicitly within this channel, I wanted to do experimentation in order to find what works and what doesn't. So how do you find your niche? Well, obviously you need to base it on your interests and your strengths, but you'll also want to base it on what many people call unfair advantage. This would be things like your personality or your background or special skills that you have. You should aim to have your niche give value to a wide audience. The most important thing is that you're bringing value to your viewers. Value can come in 3 different forms. You can either have entertainment, like Mr. Beast or Good Mythical Morning, or education, like Khan Academy or Veritasium. Or it can be inspiration, like Motivation Hub. You'll need to decide what kind of value you can bring. And I recommend that you pick a few niches and experiment to find the path that works best for you. So as for scheduling, you need to come up with a realistic schedule and then commit to that. Figure out what videos you're planning on doing, when you're going to do them, when you're going to release them, that sort of thing. It'd be preferable if you use a calendar so you can better keep track of these things. I actually don't have a calendar set up yet, but I'm planning on doing that myself. It doesn't need to be complicated though. You can start out simple and just get it into motion. So currently my schedule is pretty simple. I have once a week, I do a channel update video on Friday or Saturday. And then on Wednesday, I'm doing one of my 50-hour research videos, like this one here. On Wednesday, I'm releasing it. And for the most part, that's my current schedule. Just remember not to aim too high for how many videos you're going to put out in a particular week. Make sure that you can actually keep up with it. You should also consider batching your videos some. This can be helpful in terms of context switching. And if you're not familiar with that, that's basically, the lead in time and lead out time of doing an activity. So say you're writing a story, right? So on your computer, for instance. So you said you're going to do that at 6 p.m. So you get there at your computer at 6 p.m. and now you have to open up your programs and find your files and get that all situated, and that takes a few minutes. And then you open it all up and you're ready to actually start, but you can't remember exactly where you left off. So now you have to kind of reread some of it and kind of figure out where you left off and where you were going next and that sort of thing. And by the time it's all said and done, you've spent 15 minutes getting into the groove of actually starting before you actually start. And then tomorrow you lose another 15 minutes doing the same thing again, right? So if you were to take today's time and tomorrow's time and bundle it together today, then you would save yourself that extra 15 minutes. That kind of mentality is what context switching is about. Now, while context switching does contribute to some amount of loss of time, I think the biggest reason for doing batching of your videos has to do with the motivation trend. So if you have a wave of motivation, that's a great time to continue that wave in an extended stretch so that you can get more done in one go. You might consider writing multiple scripts in one day, or you might consider recording multiple videos in one day or editing multiple videos in one day. Or maybe just scripting, recording, and editing one video all in one day in one go. Maybe you can even do 2 of those in a row. The biggest benefit for batching your videos is being able to get ahead of your own schedule. So if you're planning on putting out a video, let's just say once a week on Wednesday, If you're able to get 3 built up, that means you have 3 videos in place. You can start working on new videos, new ideas, maybe even bump up how many you're pushing out in a single week, or just take a break for a little while. All of these can be benefits from doing batch videos, if you can actually keep up with it. Making YouTube videos takes a lot of work. It can take hours, days, even weeks to make a single video, depending on what you're making. There are a lot of variables involved with how long a particular video will take. How long is the video? What type of video is it? How many locations are you going to shoot? How you record the video and how you're going to cut it. Your skill in editing and how fancy the editing will be. Personally, my videos take at least 12 hours to make a single video. In the beginning, you have to do everything. Thumbnails, titles, scripts, recording, editing, ideas for new content. You should try to get to outsourcing as soon as possible, especially for the areas that you're weakest in. Once you get to the point where you're making a few $1,000s a month, you should consider outsourcing. Outsource the areas that you're worst at or that you don't enjoy doing. It's pretty common for YouTubers to outsource their editing, for instance. Most likely, at least half your time is spent in editing, and if you can cut that out, you're saving half of your time. You could be making a second video instead. I know starting a YouTube channel can be tough. Just pick a name, start the channel, and push out some garbage videos. Don't worry about your niche, don't worry about your equipment, and don't worry that you don't know how to edit. None of that stuff matters if you never start. And once you do start, you're going to find that learning and improving over time is all that matters. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe, and join me on my journey from zero to YouTube hero. This is Create by Fire.